April 1945. As Allied forces advanced deep into Germany, they discovered something far more valuable than any military equipment or gold reserves: the brilliant minds behind Hitler's most advanced weapons programs. This marked the beginning of a secret race between the United States and Soviet Union that would shape the next 50 years of global politics and technological development. The first clues emerged when American troops captured the underground Mittelwerk factory where V-2 rockets were produced. What they found astonished them: not just advanced rocket technology, but evidence of a scientific program decades ahead of anything the Allies possessed. General Dwight D. Eisenhower immediately understood the implications. We cannot allow these mines to fall into Soviet hands. Thus began Operation Overcast, later renamed Paperclip. Its mission was simple but staggering: identify and extract top German scientists before the Soviets could reach them. Leading this effort was Major Robert Staver, an artillery officer who recognized that men like Werner von Braun were worth more than entire divisions of soldiers. The Soviet response was equally determined. Operation Osoaviakhim, led by Stalin's top scientific advisors, had identical objectives. Both sides understood that the scientists who created the V-2 rocket, jet aircraft, and other wonder weapons could determine the balance of power in the coming Cold War. The most dramatic scenes unfolded in Peenemünde, the heart of German rocket research. As Soviet forces approached from the east, von Braun and his team faced an impossible choice: surrender to the Russians, who might execute them as war criminals, or risk crossing battle lines to reach American troops. They chose the Americans, hiding 14 tons of research documents in an abandoned mine before making their move. Meanwhile, across Germany, similar dramas played out. At the Heckingen Atomic Research Facility, American Alsos mission teams raced to capture nuclear scientists before French forces could claim the area. They successfully extracted key figures like Werner Heisenberg and Otto Hahn, along with their uranium and heavy water supplies. The ethical dilemmas were immense. Many of these scientists had used slave labor from concentration camps. Their facilities had been built with blood, yet both Allied powers made the calculated decision that their knowledge was too valuable to ignore. As one American officer noted in his journal, "We are making deals with devils, but the alternative is letting the Soviets have them." By May 1945, the race had become a massive intelligence operation. The United States had compiled the blacklist of 1,500 German scientists and engineers wanted for immediate extraction. The Soviets had their own special list of equally valuable targets. Both sides used everything from persuasion to threats to secure their prizes. The extraction methods ranged from sophisticated to brutal. Some scientists went willingly, seeing better opportunities in the West. Others were essentially kidnapped, their families used as leverage. The Soviets were particularly aggressive, sometimes simply loading entire research facilities onto trains and shipping them to the USSR along with their staff. One of the most remarkable cases was that of Hubertus Strughold, later called the father of space medicine. His research on high-altitude physiology had involved horrific experiments on prisoners at Dachau. Yet American officials whitewashed his record and brought him to the United States, where he would later help develop NASA's life support systems. As summer 1945 arrived, the operation expanded dramatically. Teams fanned out across the collapsing Reich, hunting for specialists in rocketry, chemical weapons, aviation, and nuclear physics. The competition turned fierce, with several instances of American and Soviet teams literally arriving at the same location simultaneously. The stage was set for one of the most extraordinary transfers of knowledge in human history and moral compromises that would haunt both superpowers for decades to come. The decisions made in those chaotic months would ultimately put men on the moon and nuclear weapons in silos, all born from the ashes of the Third Reich's scientific establishment. By June 1945, the scientist hunt had evolved into the largest knowledge transfer operation in history. Teams of Allied investigators scoured over 1,500 research facilities, from massive underground factories to hidden mountain laboratories. What they uncovered would accelerate technological development by decades and fundamentally reshape the post-war world. The scale of Operation Paperclip became staggering. Over 1,600 German scientists and their families were secretly transported to the United States in the first year alone. They included 127 rocket specialists, 86 aeronautical engineers, 74 nuclear physicists, and hundreds of other technical experts. The Soviets were equally busy, relocating entire research institutes, buildings, equipment, and staff to special facilities outside Moscow. One of the most dramatic extractions involved the V-2 rocket team. Werner von Braun and 126 key engineers were secretly moved to the United States under Project Overcast. Their knowledge would become the foundation of both the American space program and intercontinental ballistic missile development. As von Braun himself noted, "We were like artists who had been given the finest paints and brushes but were forced to paint horrible pictures. Now we could create beauty." The ethical compromises reached shocking levels. Many paperclip scientists had been active Nazis or SS members. Arthur Rudolph, who later designed the Saturn V moon rocket, had been operations director at Mittelwerk, where 20,000 forced laborers died. His Nazi past was deliberately concealed. Similarly, Kurt de Boos, another Saturn V engineer, had been a stormtrooper and SS member. The American position was clear. Their knowledge was deemed essential for national security. The Soviet operation took an even more ruthless approach. Operation Osoaviakim saw over 2,200 German specialists and 6,000 family members forcibly relocated to the USSR in a single night, October 22, 1946. They worked in isolated sharashkas, prison research institutes, where they developed everything from advanced aircraft to nuclear weapons under constant NKVD supervision. The scientific spoils were immense. The Americans gained expertise that led directly to the Redstone rocket, the X-15 spaceplane, and ultimately the Apollo program. The Soviets acquired the foundations of their R-7 rocket, which would launch Sputnik and Yuri Gagarin. Both superpowers essentially built their space programs on German engineering. Beyond rocketry, the knowledge transfer transformed multiple fields. Chemical weapons experts brought nerve gas technology to both sides. Aviation engineers delivered swept-wing jet designs that became the MiG-15 and F-86 Sabre. Medical researchers provided high-altitude physiology data that enabled supersonic flight. Even submarine technology advanced through captured German Type 21 U-boat designs. The human cost of this knowledge was largely ignored. Much of the research had been obtained through horrific human experimentation. The data from Dachau's high-altitude chambers and freezing experiments where prisoners suffered and died was eagerly studied by both American and Soviet medical researchers. The justification was always the same: the Soviets are using this data, so we must too. By 1947, the operation began winding down, but its legacy was permanent. The German scientists became citizens, changed their histories, and integrated into their new nations. Von Braun became an American celebrity, appearing on television and in magazines. His counterpart in the USSR, Helmut Gröttrup, worked in secrecy, but achieved similar technological breakthroughs. The moral questions remain troubling to this day. Can knowledge obtained through evil means be ethically used? Should national security justify overlooking war crimes? These dilemmas defined the early Cold War and continue to resonate in modern scientific ethics discussions. The Operation Paperclip scientists and their Soviet counterparts achieved incredible things. They put humans in space, developed technologies we still use today, and expanded our understanding of science. but they also represented a fundamental compromise between morality and progress, a bargain struck in the ashes of war that continues to shape our world. What's your perspective on this moral dilemma? Should these scientists have been prosecuted, or were the Allies right to use their knowledge? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm genuinely curious where our community stands on this complex issue. If you want more untold stories from history's grey areas, make sure to subscribe for our next video about the Auschwitz spy who infiltrated the SS.